Welcome everyone to the webinar on tactical implementation of decision digital twin to navigate geopolitical risks and nearshoring. Thank you for joining the webinar, and we thank anyLogistix for hosting the webinar. So a brief introduction about both the presenters. I'm Krishna. I work as a senior solutions architect at Symbol. I have more than 14 years of experience in various areas of supply chain analytics. And worked across the industries. With me, my colleague Irshad is there. He will be taking everyone through the demonstration today. He is a senior supply chain consultant at Symbol. He is an expert anyLogistix modeler in the company, and he also trains all the APAC people on anyLogistix. He holds an MBA from IIM Mumbai and a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. He's a gold medalist. Let's progress. So before diving into the webinar, I would just like to give a brief overview on what Symbol is, what we do in the area of supply chain, and then we quickly slide through this, and then we will go to the webinar. See, when it comes to supply chain focused applications at Symbol, we broadly do three types of solutions, like supply chain design, anything related to planning, where any facility planning, as well as any optimizations, not just route, any production optimization, any fleet optimization, any demand forecasting, anything in warehouse, any kind of automation, layout optimization, capacity planning, inbound, outbound processing and optimization simulations and all. In network, any resiliency, cost to serve, cash to serve, how sustainable the supply chain is, how should we evaluate our network in terms of simulations, and everything else. So let's go to the next slide. Again, at a broad level, the areas we categorized in which we work most in, it's not an exhaustive list, but yeah, these are broad categories of areas where we work in optimizations, in simulations, in building digital twins. And we have data engineering team who support building the digital twins and simulations. And we have data science team again who build solutions as well as support the simulation and optimizations. So Symbol, at a brief, is a world leader in simulation. We have over 80 members spread across the globe, and we are growing. And we proudly serve industry pioneers as well as trailblazers globally. We have a multidisciplinary team so that we can support building digital twins for our clients at scale. When it comes to anyLogistix, I think most of you know it already. It's a cross-platform solution, and it's also server-based application. And it's a good extension augmentation to the strategy planning along with the existing planning systems and ERPs in the companies. The beauty of it is business users can build solutions using Excel. It can also integrate with database for technical users and can seamlessly pass on the strategies and any kind of simulations optimization to the centralized data DBs and work seamlessly with all the systems in the organizations. So before diving into the today's demonstration, so I would like to, since this is a continuation webinar of the last topic, which was on 5 most complex supply chain decisions and how to how to make them right. So we will be visiting the 5 key complex supply chain decisions that we have discussed last time at a high level. The first one is geopolitical influences. We know with the current political volatility, and continuous changes in political strategies, tariffs, and energy requirements, any disputes between the countries, the supply chains have to consistently align. The supply chains have to be consistently aligned with and have to be efficient with the changes that are happening across. And this is one of the key trend that is driving the supply chain design for the organizations recently. The second one is regionalization and localization. This is, we can say, maybe because of the impact from the first factor. Nowadays, regionalization and localization is becoming more and more important. Why? Because the countries are forming trade blocks. Suppose as an example, USMCA, United States Mexico Canada Agreement, which encourages planned production in the North American area for integration. So this kind of regionalization, because of the political instability as well as the pandemics and epidemics that are the disruptions happening across, regionalization and localization is becoming more and more focus for the companies nowadays. The third one, working capital optimization. Businesses nowadays are not just evaluating the cost anymore, especially the supply chain teams. It's not just about cost and service level anymore. It's also about how much capital is locked in the inventory. How can we negotiate or extend the payment terms with the suppliers? How can we improve the accounts receivables? How can we reduce the time between the capital investment and revenue collection? So this is becoming more and more important to be evaluated, so that we do investments at right places on profitable products and profitable customers who can pay fast and who can turn the inventories fast and keep the working capital liquid for the companies. So it's becoming very important. Volatility, we all know that global disruptions like pandemics, epidemics, they are causing much very rapid shift in the consumer behavior. And even the growth in e-commerce and the current latest changes in supply chain, in the way people are marketing and people are being reached out, there is a lot of volatility in demand across various channels, and companies have to consistently adapt to these changes. So volatility and uncertainty is becoming one of the uh, important focus areas for the company. And the final one is resiliency. And as like COVID-19, the biggest disruption that has happened across global supply chains and making the supply chains more vulnerable. Companies are prioritizing the resilience. Many companies that even we are working with are having their focus on evaluating their supply chains, how resilient they are, how to, in case if there is a disruption, how to tackle the disruption. What is the alternate? What are the alternatives? How to make sure the supply chain functions smoothly without any service level drops or cost impacts. So companies are continuously stress testing their supply chains, and it is one of the focus areas nowadays for the companies. Next slide, Isha. And on today's topic, we only demonstrate geopolitical influences. That is the first one here. We already spoke about what geopolitical influence is that directly impacts the cross-border supply chain operations. It poses risks to materials because, as we saw, China restricting the rare earths is a challenge recently that we have faced. So their global supply chains or cross-border supply chains are becoming more vulnerable, and this will impact in the cost. There will be high landed costs. The companies which have already taken the initiative of regionalization, they will have more pricing power, even though at some places the cost might be high, but they'll have higher pricing power because tariffs nowadays are there is a huge percentage of tariffs which are kind of increasing the final price for the customers. And the proven inventory models like just in time may not be the right approaches given the way tariffs are disrupting the global economies. Some of the levers that we can evaluate some of the levers that we can pull to make sure to check how what can we do for our supply chain to make it better. One of them might be evaluating the product mix and source percentage. Like if for the tariff impacted countries, on which products the tariffs are high, can we change the product mix and can we get a benefit out of it? Can we change the sourcing percentage from the country which is impacted by tariff? Can we evaluate alternative suppliers, alternative sourcing? Can we kind of check our capacities from in the local factory capacities, and can we evaluate how flexible our local factories are? Can we move the productions to local factories if possible? Even evaluating can be on the new facilities, either production or distribution or cross docking and stocking strategies. Some of the KPIs that we generally check we generally evaluate to understand whether our decision had a good influence on or a good impact on the supply chain. Yeah, some of them, the cost related are labor savings, total landed cost savings, duty savings, inventory carrying cost savings, and some of the service level KPIs would be how much lead time impact did we reduce given we have tried a new scenario, uh, because tariffs might even end up in lead time impacts because clearances might take more time than earlier, and what are the average inventories, what are the service level impacts. So these are some KPIs that we can evaluate across scenarios and understand which configuration of supply chain is giving us the best result. Going to the next slide. Same thing with regionalization. The benefits are we'll have more concentrated operations. We are not geographically spread anymore. So by this, we are less exposed to the risks like tariffs, sanctions, and any bans. And our supply chains are expected to be resilient because in case if there are any global logistics disruptions and all, we are not impacted by this because the supply chains would be regionalized. Uh, since the supply chains are like regionalized again, transportation costs, there will be savings because the network would be smaller now, and the travel distances will come down. And even if there are any local regulatory requirements, they can be done without any postponements needed. Again, similar levers, I don't want to again repeat them. Similar kind of levers we can evaluate for regionalization as well, and some cost KPIs like total cost to serve, any impacts on labor cost, transport costs, and new facility fixed and overhead costs. And even sustainability we can measure because we will be reducing the transportation. So maybe we will produce less CO2. At the same time, we will be increasing our production, so we can balance off and see where we are in terms of sustainability. When it comes to supply chain performance, again, the lead times, the service level, the inventory efficiency, how quickly our inventory is turning, what is the on-time in full promise that we are kind of achieving. So these are some of the KPIs that we can evaluate. I would like to pass it on to my colleague Irshad to demonstrate these two key changes, key drivers.
Yeah. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you for setting the ground for it. So we will like focus on the demo. We will see how the different scenario we can create, like from as is, what will be the impact of the tariff on your current baseline, what should be your new strategy, like how to find the new location, whether the creating the like identifying the new location, establishing the facility there, is that makes sense considering like you need to invest a lot of like capital investment, and you need to do the trade-off between the tariff, like whether tariff and the capital expenditure making sense to open the facility or to move the facility from one country to another country. So that different scenario we will see, that will be the objective of our demo. And obviously, and the last one will be the I will say the localization or the nearshoring. Like if we decided not to produce in any other country, only in the specific country, in our case, it's like USA, what will the impact? Like obviously the production cost will increase drastically when we try to produce everything within the USA. We might have some capacity constraints. So all these things we will see one by one. So levers, as I said, like we have the supplier and sourcing ecosystem, new facility we will see, and distribution model configuration we will keep on changing and see the impact of this on the different KPIs like profit, revenue, the production cost, the transportation cost, tariff. Other cost is like facility operating cost, and then we have another KPI as like facility opening cost. So in some scenario, we will be moving our production from specific country where we already have the existing facility to some another country. So uh, the opening cost might be different for different countries. So that we will see, and we will see the impact of these levels on the service level, the average inventory, and the lead time between the factory to the DC, like how much it improves if we move to the existing scenario baseline to the nearshoring or new strategy that we are building. So we will see them in one by one. Yeah. So we will move to the demo. Before jumping on the demo in Elastic, like I'm just giving some context about the problem. So we are taking the example of smartphone manufacturer. The most of the client of that company are in USA and the Canada. They have the four factories, one in China, two in Mexico, and one in USA. Each of the factory has some production capacity. Like ideally, in this demo, we kept the same production capacity for each of this plant to make the result easy to understand. We have the three DCs in the USA. And in terms of the cost for different parameters like transportation cost. So between DC to customer, we consider the ELTL as a transportation cost policy. Between factory to the DC, we use the uh, fixed delivery or FTL transportation policy. We do have the production cost. Each country has a different production cost, and the production cost mostly include the labor cost and all other costs related to the production of the that particular product. We have the DC operating cost, we have the facility opening cost in the model. And in this bottom, you can see the supply chain is like we have the factories, we have the sites, and then we have the customers. So I'm just resharing my screen. So we will jump on the anyLogistix interface. Yeah. All right. So let's go through the what are the different things like we have and how we add different parameters or different information in the anyLogistix. Most of you already know about that, but let's go very quickly over this. So we have the customer, so you can define the customer name and their locations. We have the demand from 37 customers. We have the three DCs, which are like these red dots, which are in USA only. Then we have the different facility expenses. In this case, I will remove that because this is as is case scenario where we are not opening anything. So we have the initial cost. The other cost is like per day. If I want to operate any of the DC, I need to pay like $50. So it might be different. Like you can consider different cost like electricity cost or some overhead cost in that. And the inventory carrying cost per day per piece of the smartphone is like one USD. Then as of now in our network, we have the four facility. One is in China, one is in USA, two are in the Mexico. These are the groups, location groups for, okay, that's fine. For the path, as I said, like between factories to the sites in the sense like DC, we use the distance-based fix FTL policy. And from DCs to the customer, we are using the ELTL policy. The transportation cost is also different between the factories which are in the USA to the DC versus the factories which are in the Asian countries. Because we are shipping by the ship cargo, so the transportation cost is much cheaper compared to the land transportation. Then we have the product flow table, like it's simple, like how the product is flowing from factory to site and site to DCs. Then we have the product storage. So we have some constant like minimum I need to store 100 product at the DC and 200 products at factory. The production, I will remove this again, it's not relevant. So in China, if we want to produce anything, it will cost us like $9. In USA factory, obviously, like we have a lot of high, I can say, the labor costs. So overall, the production cost is very much high compared to the China, and then we have the Mexico. So Mexico is in between China and the USA. we have the throughput capacity. Per month, I can produce only this kind of this much number of the smartphones. Uh, Moving to the next, so location table, objective member, that's fine. Product storage, okay. And for the simplicity, we just have one product in our model. So this is as is scenario, like we are not introducing any tariff, we are not introducing any new feature in the model. We are just build the as is network, and we will evaluate the KPIs, like different KPIs that we discussed, like the different cost parameter on it. So I already run the scenario. We can run it, but it will take some 1 or 2 minutes time. So when you run the scenario, you will get the result like this. So in anyLogistix, like if you have the, like, let's say I have the three different scenarios, so I can compare different scenario. Like let's say I can select the different one from, let's say, nearshoring. I can select specific result from that experiment, and you will see the comparatively increase and decrease in the profit considering that two different scenarios. Back to point, like in anyLogistix as output, like we get the all necessary information that anyone required as output from the supply chain. Like we have the product flow, we have the operating site, we have the product storage, production cost, the production flow. Like in our case, we don't have the bill of material, but if your supply chain is like multi-tier, so you need to create a lot of different raw material to create your finished goods. So in that case, the production flow table will play important role where you can track the bill of material. In our case, we don't have that. Share flow constraint, demand fulfillment, all of this. For now, like we will focus on the objective member, like where we want to see the financial KPIs. So we can see like our revenue is like 3.7 billion, and out of this, like transportation cost is contributing 140 million. Then we have the production cost, which is like 72 million. Inventory carrying cost is zero point 0.4 million USD. And we do have the other cost, like the cost of operating the site. So our profit in this case is like a 3.5 billion. So this is our as is scenario, the baseline scenario. But because of the political tension and geopolitical influence, like we all know, like there is, it's very trending in the market, the evaluating the impact of the tariff. So next thing, in the next scenario, uh, the model will be as is, but anyLogistix give us very good flexibility to add the tariff. Like we don't need to change anything, any lot of the information in the model. There is one table called as a tariff. So you can, like even in the tariff, like you have the different type of the features you can add, like compound, highest, lowest, something like that. We will see what is that. So sites are our in USA. So from there are the DC. So DC is in the USA transferring to the customer in the USA. There is no any tariff on it. DC which are in USA, they are shipping to the Canada. You can select the product here. So in our case, it's only one product. That the tariff will be the 4%. Similarly, from factory in the China, this is a factory from China to the DCs in the USA, the tariff will be the 60%. So that's what we are really seeing right now. So the tariff is very, very high from China, and from Mexico to the factories in the USA. Sorry, the DCs in the USA, that the tariff will be like 0.25. So ALS give us that flexibility, like maybe in reality, like you don't have the one type of the product, you have the different type of product, and the main KPI, or main, I can say, the factor, we all know, like HS code. So tariff is not related to the directly to the product, but it is related to the HS code. So different product might have the same category of the HS group. So you can create a group of the products having the same HS code, or they fall under the same category of the tariff. And instead of just writing single product, you can select the different product, or between same site to same destination, you can replicate this line for the different kind of the product for different tariff. You can add, like in terms of, like here we have added as a percentage, but you can add as a fixed cost as well. Like if you have that number, you can add that as well. So that's the only thing we added in the model. So in the baseline, we saw the profit. now we introduce the tariff and we want to see how it will impact my overall KPIs. So again, I have run the result because it will take again some 3-4 minutes. So let's move directly on the objective member and let's see the impact. So the revenue remain the same because our service level is 100%. We are fulfilling all the customers. The tariff, okay. So before moving to tariff, like the transportation cost is increased significantly. Then other cost like operating cost is remain the same. Production cost is 76 million. Carrying cost is increased nearly to the 1 million. But what we are mostly interested is in the tariff. So here we can see like we get actual tariff based on the flow that is happening between the different countries. So there are two different type of the tariff you can see. One is like customer tariff and the another is just simple tariff. So when we are delivering the product to the customers as a last leg, so the tariff will be applicable on the selling price of the product. But when it is transferring between one, let's say factory to the DC, the tariff will be applicable. It is an internal tariff, you can say. So tariff will be applicable on the product value itself. So that's why ALX kept them both separate, but we can see the combined tariff because of this geopolitical influence, it's now like 325 million, which is like very huge, and now our profit drops to the 3.1 billion from 3.5 billion. So we have to think about some strategy. We need to move some of our facility from some countries where we have the more tariff to the some another countries. So that is one of the strategy that we can think of. Like there might be different strategy, but objective is to show how easily we can build a different scenario within the anyLogistix. So moving to the second scenario, where we introduce the new facilities. So in this scenario, along with the 4 factories that was already there, we introduced new factories, one in Vietnam and 2 in the USA. So why we decided Vietnam? Because from Vietnam to the USA DCs, that tariff is around 10%. And the factories which are in the USA, obviously, they don't need to pay any tariff unless they are shipping directly to the customer in the Canada. So these are the two different sites. I will say the 3 different sites we have introduced in the model. Now we want to see whether the model choose uh, which of the different sites like all already that we have had and the one that we introduced out of this, how the model decide and how it will impact our tariff. Before moving that also, like we do have, since we are want to open some new factories, so we do have the cost of uh, here we say as initial cost, but this is like investment cost. So if I want to open the factory, I think this factory, so I need to invest like 50 million USD. Same thing for another factory in the USA and the factory which is in Vietnam. So the cost to open that factory is like 10 million. So the we are including the cost of investment, and including that, including the tariff, we want to see whether our profit is increased or not, considering like if we decided to keep as it is our network and just face the tariff, don't do anything, versus if we go in the market, if we look for the some factories location in the Vietnam, some in the USA, will that be good strategy or not? So I'm just again moving to the result because I have already run uh, most of them. So if we jump to the objective member, because we are right now looking for the financial KPIs. So in objective member, like, okay, so before moving there, so as an input also, we do have the objective members. So along with like, we have the revenue, uh, we have the like cost. So ideally, Inelastic is trying to maximize everything. It also maximizes like the transportation cost, but you see the I will say the sign of this is like negative. So ultimately, it is profit maximization, not the cost minimization problem, because we do have the revenue as well. What I wanted to focus here is like we do have the features like the tariff here. So if we just wanted to see, like we have the as is network, we don't want to optimize on the tariff, you can just turn it off. So it will just calculate like it will optimize your network without the tariff, and it will just multiply with some factors and get your tariff number. If you want to include the tariff in the optimized model, just include them as well. Along with the tariff, the most important one here, like right now we are not including our model, but most of the industry and are focusing on that right now is a CO2 emission. So in any logistic, like we can add the CO2 emission in every step of your supply chain, like in transportation, in the production, in handling, inbound, outbound, maybe as a byproduct as well. So if you added that parameters in the input model, you can also do the multi-objective optimization by clicking this on, and now it will be considered everything like the cost and the CO2 in whole single model. So since we have like all these objective members there, so same thing we will see in the result. And if we check the numbers, so transportation cost is reduced drastically. We can compare the scenario with the tariff 2 scenario. Uh, yeah, this scenario. Yes. So we can see our profit is increased approximately like 9%. The total cost uh, is decreased. The revenue remain the same. The amount of the product flow remain the same. So if we check in details, like the transportation cost reduced, like it's 77 million. Production cost is 84 million. Here is a catch, like we have like now initial cost. So remember in USA, if you want to open facility, the cost of opening the facility is like 50 million, and in Vietnam it's 10 million. So we can see like what the model choose first, and then we can jump again. Yeah. So model selected, like model dropped the China facility. It selected the Vietnam facility because obviously uh, the tariff from the China is like 60%. The tariff from the Vietnam is 10%. Then previously we had two facility in the Mexico and one in the USA, but now one factory from USA is model is removed that it did not choose that, and now it's choose to produce one factory in the USA. So the cost of opening one factory in the US is like 50 million. The cost of opening the facility in Vietnam is like 10 million. So overall, our capital expenditure or the initial cost will be like 60 million in this case. Uh, then that like we are interested in seeing the impact on the tariff. So let's just look for that. So here we see, yeah, so customer tariff, the internal tariff, the sum is like 96 million. So previously, if we did nothing, if we just face the tariff and we do as it is, so the tariff is around like 350 million, I guess. And now it's decreased significantly to the 96 million. And overall, since the tariff is decreasing, but the initial cost is increasing, but overall, if we see the profit in as is scenario with tariff, the profit was like 3.1 billion something, but now the profit is improved. It's not as good as the your baseline where we have the ideal world where we don't have the any tariff. But now with the tariff, we made some strategy. We made strategy to move the production from some country to another country. We have some cost parameters. So using this strategy, now we are able to fulfill all the customers, and we are better to face the tariff. So this is about second scenario. Now, again, because of geopolitical influence, and as Krishna mentioned briefly, so there is like more and more pressure is going on in the supply chain professionals, like produce locally, like instead of producing, let's say, in China or in Asian country, or maybe in Mexico as well, like try to produce more and more in the USA. So for this, we created a one more scenario, and we just wanted to see the impact. Like obviously, when we produce everything in the USA, we don't see the tariff between factory to the DC, but we do have some customers in the Canada side, so we will see that. So for this third scenario, the objective is to see if we just allow to produce the product within the USA, uh, what will be the impact? Like what will be the impact in terms of the production cost, in terms of the initial cost, the there will be significant decrease in the tariff because obviously we are doing it in same country, but we have some customers, as I said, in Canada. Uh, so this is a typical case of the nearshoring, or we can say the localization, due to the political tension. Each company is trying to produce more and more in the same country to avoid the fluctuations or the I can say the the wave of the tariff or the wave of uncertainty. So this is a third scenario that we built. So in this scenario, like everything is same. Let's look for the tariff. Yeah, we do have the other factories and this, but in this case, like we just have the three factories in the USA, and we want to see like whether these three factory whether able to produce or deliver all the customers whatever they need, what will be the cost for this, because if we want to produce in the same country, let's say in USA, the cost of production because of the labor cost and some other cost is very high compared to other country. So uh, let's run the model. I have the result ready, but yeah, let's run it for a bit. Yeah, so here so in this window, like you can see the KPIs very straightforwardly. Right now, we are just running in this experiment setting. We are just saying like I want only one base solution. But if you want to know like what are my base solution, what is my second base solution, third base solution, you can run the model 2, 3, 4 times and compare the iterations together. Also, we can tag different KPIs. Let's say I want to see the demand fulfillment. Some so in this case, when we are started producing only in the USA, we can say like we are not able to fulfill all of our customer. Like we are able to fulfill 95.5% of the overall demand because each of the factory has some its restriction. So next scenario based on this analysis, like increasing the capacity. If we increase the capacity over the capacity that we have, it will cost us, let's say, something more, or maybe we can do the subcontracting or outsourcing some of the product from some another partner. So that different strategy we can build after analyzing the result of this scenario. So if we jump, yeah, so before that, like if I show the network, how it looks like. Yeah, so you see like we don't have anything outside USA as a factory. Three factories are in USA. We have the three DCs. Some customers are in Canada. Let me show. We can turn on the labels. We can see you can do the filters like if you are interested only in specific factory, specific product. Right now we just have the one product, but if your supply chain is very complex, so you want to know only for specific product how the flow is happening or what are the opportunity that I have added in the model as an input or as output as well. So you can select the specific uh, filter uh, that in that, and you can obviously like you might have known about this, so we can see the connection by the road as well. But right now we are just looking for the straight line. So if I move to the objective members, so one thing we observe, like we cannot deliver all the products, so we need to build some strategy, like maybe subcontracting, or we need to add some more capacity, but that will again increase some investment. So we need to again build another scenario where adding some uh, initial investment cost, or if we go over this capacity, we need to pay some more penalty. We can produce that, but we need to give some more penalty to it. So if we go back in the objective member again, here we can see there is something called as a penalty. This penalty is nothing but since we are not able to deliver all the customers, uh, and in demand table we added some penalty for it, so that's how it is calculated. But if we neglect that, so we can see the production cost is like 102 million, which is high because we are producing only in the USA now. Then the transportation cost is also high. Carrying cost is like 0.8 million. Other costs remain the same. And initial cost is now 100 million. So in previous case, it was 60 million because one facility in USA, one facility in Vietnam. But now we are producing, we had one facility in USA, now another two facility we are opening in the USA. So which is like 100 million. And revenue is not the same because we are dropping some of the demand. Uh, and that's why revenue is not same as our first three scenarios. And we still see the customer tariff. So we don't see the tariff in this case. The tariff is zero because, as I said, the tariff is the internal movement. So internal movement between the different countries. So our factories are in USA, our DCs are in USA, so we don't have any tariff on that. We have the customer tariff because our DCs are in USA, our customers are in Canada, and we have the tariff of 4%, I think, from USA to Canada. So that's how we get the tariff on it. So the beauty of anyLogistix is like the it selected the best customer which are making more profit to us. So it will help us to rationalize like which product, which customer we should not deliver, uh, considering we have the capacity constraint. If we can increase the capacity somehow, well and good, like if it is that profitable, we can check the scenario. If I increase the capacity or I can go over the capacity, but it will cost me the $2 more to produce a single product. Sorry, will it be profitable still to serve that customer or not? So uh, uh, the output from the university, like the product flow table, which give us the information like how much product flow from which location to which location, what is the transportation cost, what are the different like travel time, different. We don't have any processing cost included in it, but you will see like transportation cost, the tariff, everything by each leg. So overall, you can see what is the cost to deliver the particular product to the customer, and even as a out processor you can create the profit, not just the cost to serve but the profit to serve that customer uh, that product. So that all things, all scenarios you can build and you can easily navigate from one scenario to another scenario. Like if most of you might already know, but if we have one scenario to create the another scenario, like we just convert to the another scenario, and on top of this scenario we can add some more features and test them out. So these are the three scenarios that we wanted to focus. And if I go back into the presentation, yeah, so scenario like I briefly discussed about this. Like first one it was like as is scenario. Then we introduced the tariff. The tariff from the China was 60%, Mexico was 25%, and for Canada it's 7%. So our profit decreased drastically low. Uh, and then we come up with some evaluating some facility location from the different countries. We have the different production cost, we have the different transportation cost, warehouse opening cost, factory opening cost. The tariff from the Vietnam is like 10%. And then we saw just the localization or the nearshoring impact. Like if we just produce within the USA, what will it will impact? And we can see like out of this scenario, for now the scenario two is best suited for the company to maintain its competitive edge in the market, considering the tariff impact on it. If we go with the regionalization, we need to build some more scenarios. We need to add more capacity. We need to do the cost to serve analysis, profit to serve analysis. We need to do the some rationalization of the products and the customers. And anyLogistix is based at that. So you can create a lot of different scenarios on the top of result of another scenario. So that's the beauty of anyLogistix. This is the summary, like what we just saw in the different scenarios. So we can see like the profit, it was like 3.5 billion, it decreases to the 3.1 billion because you see the tariff, overall tariff is like 325 million. But when we introduce a new locations, our facility opening cost increases to the 60 million, but the tariff is decreased significantly, like from 325 million to the 96 million. And yeah, even though our production cost increased a little bit, but overall, like we should not like the beauty, or I can say the one of the always ask question to any supply chain consultant is like why we see the production cost is increased, where it should decrease, but everything in the optimization you need to look at the holistic view, like you need to look at the final number, not at the individual number. Sometimes it makes sense to look at the individual number if they are decreasing, like from this number to this number how it is increases, but overall the uh, profit is high, so model might be trying to produce more at more high production cost facility, but at the same time it's try to minimize the transportation cost or maybe the handling cost at DC or opening cost. So uh, that's and in that case the cost to serve play an important role. So when you have the cost to serve, so instead of looking at just a transportation cost, you can look for each customer and see like if this customer is served from another DC, the what will be the cost to serve for this. So cost to serve is the best tool to make our client or to make our stakeholder confident about the model that we built. And the third scenario, the last scenario we created, like the revenue is not same because we are not able to fulfill all the demand. We are able to fulfill only 95% demand. Uh, we have the facility opening cost like 100 million, and the profit in this case is like 3.2 billion. So out of all these scenarios, considering there will be tariff, it's inevitable, then scenario two is the best suited scenario as of now, whatever the scenario we created. Uh, that's it. Anything, Krishna, you want to add?
No, nothing specific. I think I've been consistently answering the questions. So yeah,
Okay.
some of the points that we have missed in terms of sustainability, evaluating CO2. You can almost evaluate CO2 at any stage in your supply chain, whether it's production or whether it's distribution or whether it's processing. You can evaluate CO2 impacts at any stage in your supply chain. And another question on uncertainties, yes, you can add all uncertainties, and we have a separate webinar coming for it. Irshad, if we go back to our the 5 key drivers, just
Yeah.
once. So in this demonstration, we have only completed the first two drivers, that is the geopolitical influences and the regionalization. We will conduct a subsequent webinars. We will be covering on how to do working capital optimization and how to include volatilities and uncertainties in supply chain and evaluate the health of supply chain or robustness of our supply chain, and how should we focus on resilience. anyLogistix has excellent capability in evaluating supply chain resilience. So we will focus on all these topics in upcoming webinars.
Yeah.
That's it. Thanks, Arshan.
Yeah, yeah. Just to add to this, so to be specific, like in any logistic, there is some feature called as a event. So if you know, like there, let's say you can create an event like in next 2 months, there is 50% chance that factory will close because of some reason, and it will start after the 25 days. The production line will close. This path will be temporary off. There is like 60% chance that strike will happen, so worker will not be there in the facility, or the my demand will. I have the gut feeling like 50% or maybe 90%, the demand during that period will go down because of some political influence or maybe some another your known business influence, or maybe let's say due to some natural disaster. I know like in the month of September there will be always some storms or some flooding happens, so there is probability of 90%, let's say, it will happen. If that happens, then my facility, my demand, or all other different KPIs in Elastic have that all very well defined things. So you can play with that and you can add the events in the simulation. So when simulation model will run the model multiple iteration, it will consider the probability. And as a output, you will see which event happens because the model will be run for the multiple iteration. So you will get to know like you have the 90% probability. So ideally, out of 100 iteration, you should see this event happens 90%, maybe sometime 98, 89, 91, I will say. But if that is happening, then how much time it takes to recover to the original service level, or not just service level, maybe I can say the profit trends that you already had. So all these things we can focus, like as Krishna said, like in upcoming webinars. Any question? Uh, there is one question, like, can we run the scenario in the personal learning version for my students? Yes, so the scenario that we covered today, I think, yes, we can build the same scenarios using the personal learning edition as well. The only limitation with that is like you cannot use some advanced tools like custom constraint. You cannot use more than 100 customers in your models. But yes, all the scenarios that we created, you can create the dummy using personal learning edition.
If there are no questions, I think then we can close this session, Irshad.
Yeah.
Thank you all for patiently listening to us. And we suggest you join the upcoming webinars to understand or to go through the remaining topic demonstrations. Thank you.